All right, let's get right into it. We're about to supercharge one of the most basic skills we all have: how to ask questions. Seriously, this is the key to unlocking way better conversations, deeper connections, and honestly, just making life a whole lot more interesting. You know that feeling, right? You're trying to connect with someone, maybe a friend who just got back from a trip or a coworker on a Monday morning, and the conversation just hits a brick wall. It sputters, it stalls, and then crickets. Just that awkward silence. And it usually starts with something like this. You ask a totally simple, logical question, you're trying to show you're interested, and you get a simple, logical answer, and that's it. The ball is right back in your court, so you try again. You lob another question over the net. But every single answer is just a dead end. It feels like you're doing all the work, and the other person's just kind of batting the ball back with one word. And that's it. The final thud. The conversation is totally over before it even had a chance to get started. It's so frustrating, and it can make you feel like you're just, I don't know, bad at small talk or something. But here is the really good news. The problem isn't you, it's not your personality, it's your toolkit. We just need to stop blaming ourselves and start thinking about our questions as specific tools for very specific jobs. So let's organize that toolkit right now. We're going to break down all questions into two main categories, and we'll use a really simple metaphor to remember them: the laser and the floodlight. Okay, so here's how we're going to frame this. Closed questions are like our laser pointers. They're precise, they're focused, and they're absolutely perfect for zeroing in on a single fact. On the other hand, open questions are our floodlights. They illuminate a whole area, revealing stories, feelings, and brand new ideas. So a closed question, your laser pointer, is your go-to tool for verification. Think yes/no answers or super short factual responses. Did you have a good time? That's a classic laser pointer. You're just asking for a simple confirmation. Now, an open question, your floodlight, does the exact opposite. It invites exploration. It's impossible to answer with a simple yes or no. It asks for a story, a reflection, an opinion. It basically hands the microphone over to the other person. Okay, so we've got our tools. Now let's see how they actually build a better conversation. We're going to put them to work in a couple of real-world scenarios. Let's rewind to that post-vacation chat. But this time, instead of a bunch of laser pointer questions, we're going to start with one powerful floodlight. Notice how this question doesn't ask if the trip was good. It just assumes it was and asks for a story instead. And that is the difference. I mean, look at this answer. It's not just a yes or no, it's a whole story. It's packed with imagery, emotion, and details. All of a sudden, the conversation isn't stalled, it's alive. It's got a dozen different directions you could go. You could ask about the hike, the sunset, what it felt like to see dolphins. You get the idea. And this, right here, is the key takeaway. One strategic open question can spark a response that is 10 times richer than a handful of closed ones. It's all about working smarter, not harder, in your conversations. Now, hold on, this doesn't mean floodlights are always the better tool. What if you're trying to find a friend at a super crowded party? Using a floodlight like, "So, how are you feeling about this party?" would be a total disaster. For that, you need your laser pointer. In this scenario, a quick series of closed, laser-like questions is absolutely perfect. Each yes or no helps you narrow down the possibilities, right? It creates this efficient little decision tree that solves the problem fast. The goal here is convergence, getting to one answer, not exploration. So why do open questions feel so much more connecting? Well, it's not magic. There's actually some pretty interesting psychology going on behind the scenes. First off, answering an open question literally engages more of our brain. Instead of just a simple recall, it makes us build a story, which is way more rewarding. It also sends this really clear signal: hey, I'm not just checking a box, I'm genuinely interested in your world. And finally, by handing over the conversational mic, you empower them to share what they find most important. Okay, knowing the theory is great and all, but the real change happens when we actually put it into practice. So let's make this something you can use right now. Probably the simplest way to start is by catching your common reflexive closed questions and just consciously rewriting them into open ones. Just take a look at these examples. Did you like the movie? That's a simple yes or no. But what did the film's ending make you feel? That invites reflection. Are you happy with your job? Can be a really scary question to answer honestly, but What part of your job gives you the most energy? Well, that's a much more creative and positive way in. The change is small, but believe me, the impact is huge. So let's end with a final thought, an open question for you to take away with you. Think about it for a second. The answer to this question reveals what you value, what you're passionate about, and what you really want to share with the world. And that's the power of asking better questions.